Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Shivani Thakke, your host for today. I have been part of the marketing team at Signet One for the past 3 years and I'm delighted to welcome you to this webinar. Today's webinar focuses on a very practical and important topic, UAE invoicing and what it actually means for your systems and day-to-day operations. While many discussions stay at a high level, today's session goes a step further to help you understand what really changes inside your ERP, workflows, and reporting processes. You'll get a clear view of how invoice data flows between your ERP, service providers, and the tax authority, what changes in your current workflows and approval cycles, where most businesses face challenges during implementation. We will also showcase the platform through a live walkthrough so you can see how these processes work in a real world scenario. By the end of the session, you will have a clear understanding of what needs to change and how to start preparing your system with confidence. Without further delay, let me introduce our speakers. Mr. Sailesh Arya. Sailesh Arya is the founder and CEO of Cloudare Technologies and an experienced Oracle architect specializing in enterprise systems and compliance-driven digital transformation. He brings strong expertise in ERP architecture, Oracle platform, e-invoicing, and system integration with a focus on building scalable and compliant solutions. Prior to Cloudare, he worked with Accenture, Deloitte, and KPMG on a large-scale transformation project. He remains actively involved in solution design and client engagements, helping organizations navigate multi-country compliance and evolving regulation. Mr. Monish Shah. Monish Shah is a subject matter expert in e-invoicing and tax automation and the service delivery lead at Signet One. With over a decade of experience in regulatory technology and digital transformation, he has led tax automation programs across India, the Middle East, Europe, and the United States. He specializes in building scalable, future ready compliance solutions that combine automation, analytics, and regulatory expertise and is known for making complex topics practical and actionable for CFOs, tax leaders, and IT teams. Ms. Reshma Pillai. Reshma Pillai is a certified management accountant with over 5 years of experience as a pre-sales manager. She specializes in requirement scoping, solution design, and documentation for enterprise clients. She is skilled analyzing business needs, preparing technical and functional proposals, and delivering product demonstration aligned with customer experience. Let's make this webinar interactive. Please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A section during the webinar and we'll address them at the end of the session. Over to you, Sailesh, Monish, and Reshma. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hope this session is more interactive in nature, and feel free to drop in anything that you see as you need clarity on, and we are there to help you out. So, just a quick update, or I would say quick introduction about Signet. So we have a common platform for globally invoicing. We are registered across multiple countries, multiple geographies that we serve for. So to start with India, we are registered here. We are registered in Singapore IMDA. We are registered in ZATCA, Saudi. For Malaysia MDEC, FTA UAE. Both are Belgium certified, MOF UAE certified again, PayPal Global certified, HMRC UK, Zambia, and DNB Alliance. Across the multiple countries, so we support around 40 plus countries for now in a single unified platform, which supports bases the schema for each of the country that we have the compliance readiness, right? We have around 1,000 different enterprises who believe in us, who trust in us to provide the top notch, I would say, the solutions that are there. With around 5 billion plus documents generated, is where the Signet's overall, I would say, the expertise lies in, right? We are certified enough from the security perspective. We are CMI level 5 ISO certified, SOC 1, SOC 2. We are certified with ISO certificates, European GDPR compliant as well, and we are PayPal registered access point as well.
Yep. Thanks, Monish, and thanks, Shivani. So, hi everyone. I'm Sailesh Arya. I'm the founder and CEO of Cloudare Technologies. So my team has been doing ERP and compliance implementation for enterprises across India, Malaysia, Saudi, and UAE. Before Cloudare, as Shivani highlighted, right, I've worked around 10 years working with Accenture, Deloitte, KPMG, and then we started Cloudare. So today I'll cover what you are seeing on the ground with UAE invoicing, the data requirement, the use cases, how it fits your ERP, and what the implementation actually looks like. So about Cloudare, Cloudare is a certified enterprise technology partner. We are an Oracle, Zoho, Odoo partner firm. We work across ERP consulting, compliance integrations, and staffing with office across India, UAE, and the USA. We work across the full ERP landscape c- as of now, right? Including Oracle, SAP, Dynamics, Tele, Zoho, Odoo, and many more, right? Whatever system your business runs on, we are likely we have done integration with some or the other ASPs, right? Signet brings the global ASP platform. We brings the ERP integration. So together, it is a complete compliance end-to-end solution. So this is on a high level of Cloudera. Yeah.
So here we are looking at the timelines for the UAE invoicing part. So the timelines are categorized into three phases. So under phase one, we've got the major businesses having turnover above 50 million AED. So they need to appoint an ASP by 31st of July this year. And the go live date for them would be 1st of Jan 27, by which they have to go live. And under the phase two, we have got businesses having turnover below 50 million AED. So they have to appoint the ASP by 31st of March next year, that is 27. And they have a relaxation period of 6 months wherein they have to go live by 1st of July 27. And then under phase three, we've got all the government entities. So again, they have to appoint the ASP by 31st of March 27, but the go live date for them would be 1st of October 27. So as per your business, you would be falling under any of these three phases for the go live part. So, moving on. So, when we look at the timelines, we see that there is a relaxation period of 6 to 7 months, but it is not so. There are certain components which are to be considered and catered before we go live or start with the implementation. So, firstly, it is the ASP appointments. You will have to finalize an ASP by 31st of July this year if you are falling under the phase one bucket, and also the ERP integration. So when we talk about the ERP integration to have the invoicing done, it is not no, it is not a direct approach. We need to understand the ERP landscapes, if any customization is required within the SAP, the data mapping, the user testing part, because this is something new which has come in. So we'll have to do a full-fledged UAT part as well, and providing the trainings to the business teams and to the IT and the finance teams, because this might change, the invoicing might change the business practices which is being followed currently. So we'll have to train the teams to accommodate these changes within their current business processes. And as an ASP, we will be helping you out with the preparation of the structured XML data which has to be reported to the FTA and to your corner 4. The UUID creation, the archival of the data, etc., will be handled within the within the ASP itself, and maintaining the audit trail reports and storing the data as per the compliance need, etc., will be happening within the ASP. So all these components are to be considered before we appoint an ASP and before we actually start with the implementation part. And so these are the various challenges which we may face during the implementation. So firstly, it is the data availability. So as per the FTA's e-invoicing compliance needs, the refills which are required or the invoices which are to be submitted is not restricted to your VAT returns. Over and above, there are certain data sets which has to be reported to the FTA. So we'll have to understand those fields, those data points which are currently not available as per your VAT returns. And there you would be using multiple source systems or POS system as of now for the invoicing generation. So we'll have to have a centralized platform wherein all these invoices are getting stored, so that you will have a single source of truth. And the data validation part, so we'll have to do a master data cleansing as well before we go ahead with the invoicing, because as we said, so there are certain fields which are additionally added in terms of the e-invoicing. So we'll have to have a master data cleansing done before we start with the implementation, and the data hosting part. So where you want to host the data, should it be on your premises, or you're okay with the cloud or the private tenant? So these are the common challenges which we may face during the implementation journey for the invoicing part. So, what all activities are to be considered when we talk about the invoicing implementation with the ERP? So, this not just impacts your sales, but also impacts your AP processes, your credit notes, your intercompany transactions. And what integration approach do we need to follow with when it comes to the ERP, to understand the ERP landscapes, integration approaches, whether to go ahead with an API based approach, SFTP, or a middleware approaches, and the master data cleansing, and structuring out your master data to incorporate all those missing fields which are required in terms of the invoicing part. So all these are the common challenges which we may face during the implementation, what we have to cater to before we start with the implementation within the ERP. So, moving on. So, as an ASP, what we bring on the table? So, we stands in between your ERP and the FTA or the PayPal network. We help with the implementation with your ERP. We have got the API-based integration, the connectors. In case the API is not feasible, we can go ahead with an SFTP-based approach or through middlewares. And the data validation in terms of the API dictionary, which has been shared by the FTA, and providing you with the error and the real-time MLS statuses that we receive from each of the corners. And also you will be able to see the end-to-end life cycle of your invoices, right from the invoice generation to the statuses that we receive from the respective corners. So you will be able to have a visibility on your invoices. And we also provide the real-time dashboards, various audit trail reports, which can be used by your finance or your IT teams to have a control on. And also various reconciliation reports that we have got into our application, which we will be showing you later during the demo. So these are all the functionalities that as an ASP we bring on the table. So moving on with the five corner model. So this is the framework which UAE has gone ahead with. So corner 1 and corner 4 will always be the ERPs of the supplier and the buyers. And corner 2 will be the ASP of this corner 1, that is the supplier. And corner 3 is the ASP of the buyer, and corner 5 is the FTA. Now, so when you raise an invoice within your ERP, that is corner 1, the data will be transmitted to corner 2, that is your ASP, using any of the integration approaches that we are going ahead with. And as an ASP, we are responsible for validating your data. So when we say validating, we'll be not checking if you have charged the correct VAT or correct amount, etc. So we'll only be validating the data as per the data dictionary which has been shared by the FTA. So we'll check if all the required fields are there or not, the schematrons of the data is correct. So all those validation as an ASP we will be performing within corner 2. And in case there are any validation failures within your data, the same will be real time pushed in back to your ERP in case we go ahead with an API based approach, or if an SFTP will drop the response back into your designated folder. So once the data has been successfully validated by corner 2, the data will be parallelly transmitted to corner 3, that is your buyer's ASP, and to corner 5, which is the FTA. Now, when the invoices are transmitted, even corner 5 and corner 3 will also be doing a set of data validation, which is similar to what we did. They will also be validating if all the required fields are there or not, and if the schema of the data is correct. And in case once the validation is clear, they will be helping us, they will be providing us with the message level status. So this is just an acknowledgement stating that they have received the invoice. Now, as an ASP, we also do the data convert. So you will be giving us the data into a JSON or the Excel format. So it's the ASP's role to convert into an XML format to transmit it through the PayPal network to corner 3, and in a TDD format to be transmitted to corner 5. So this will be the role of the ASP to transforming your data into the compliant format of the respective corners, and also will be consuming all those responses that the each corner will be providing us with. So that could be a negative or a positive MLS stating that they have received, or were there any failures within the invoice. So as an ASP, we will be storing those acknowledgements and will also be transmitting it back to your respective ERPs. And in case of your purchase invoices, we will be acting as corner 3, who would be receiving all your purchase invoices from corner 2, and also will be validating those invoices in terms of the schema, and will also be reporting it parallelly to the FTA, that is corner 5 in the TDD format. So even FTA will be validating your purchase invoices and will be providing us with a message level status stating that they have received your purchase invoices. So all this data will be stored within corner 3, and we have the APIs available using which these data can be synced back to your respective ERP, wherein you can have a viewpoint available within your ERP itself. So this is how the 5 corner model will work. So if you can see right below corner 5, there is a central data platform wherein all your sales and purchase data at a summary level will be stored by the FTA. So moving forward, they will have access to all your B2B and B2G invoices of your sales and purchase, and they can view your data at a transactional level. So as per the current practices, you would be filing the returns, like the VAT returns, at a summary level, but now they have access to the data at a transactional level. So yeah, this is the 5 corner model and what we are expecting with the invoicing and how the invoicing will work within the UAE region. So talking about the integration approaches, so we have got various approaches using which your data can be, pulled from the ERP and can be submitted to our application. So here you can see there is a box called 1A and corner 2, which sits between your corner 1 and corner 2. So this is our application that we have got the UI, wherein all the data will be first landing, the data validation, the data archival, the maintaining of the audit trails, reporting, etc., will be happening within corner 1A. So this 1A will integrate with your corner 1, that is your ERP. So we have got the API approach wherein direct APIs can be integrated with your ERP, and we can have a real-time integration to push and pull the data from from our application. And in case the ERP is not capable of consuming the APIs or not able to integrate with the ERPs using the API, so we have an SFTP based approach as well, wherein we can go ahead with a file based approach wherein the file data will be dumped into an SFTP folder, from where we will pick the data and will upload the data into our application, and the further reporting will happen. And even the responses that we receive, that is the error or the success statuses, will also be dumped into an SFTP folder, from where the ERP can consume those files. Now the third approach is the data converter. So we are talking about the legacy systems here. In case the ERP is not capable of incorporating the additional mandatory fields given by the FTA, so we can have a data converter in between, wherein the ERP can drop the file in their raw format, and our converter can enrich your data and can fill in the mandatory fields which are required as per the FTA compliances. And further, this can be uploaded into our application for the further reporting purposes. So this data converter can work in a forward and reverse manner, in case if you want to convert the output as well into your ERP's desired template. So even the reverse data mapping can also be added here. So these are the various integration approaches that we have got, using which we can automate the entire invoicing process.
Yep. So, hi everyone. Now let's get into what your finance and IT team actually needs to act on, right? The data dictionary, the field validation, the business use case that the UAE mandates covers, right? This is the most implementation pain lives, right? Let's check that out, right? So data dictionary. So if you can see, right, the ministry has released the official data dictionary. We call it as a paint AE format. So in case of standard, there are around 50, 51 or mandatory field. For commercial invoice, there are around 49 mandatory field we need to pass. So what surprises most team is, right, 15 to 16 fields are not even part of their traditional VAT return or traditional ERP, right? Let's say the PayPal identifier, the T number, right, and couple of address, like, so these fields are not even captured in their current legacy or the ERP system. And that is not a small gap. That is a master data problem that needs to be fixed before we can go live with the invoicing model, right? So on a high level, so these are the field. Next slide, please. So a lot of people come to us asking that we just have standard text invoice, and that will be very simple, but it really is, right? So the mandate has around 16 use cases that is published by the FTA authority. So most businesses are touched by at least 5 to 6 use cases, right? Standard text invoice, that is a very standard flow, right? B2B sale, that is the baseline. Then reverse charge, which covers the cross border services, right, where the buyer accounts for the VAT. If that is the case, if you have that applicable scenarios, then we need to have identifier in your ERP for the RCM. Free zone suppliers, if you deal with UAE free zones, right, there is a specific classification that you need to maintain in your ERP, and categorize that under which free zone that particular customer belongs to. Then we have tax credit note. Again, there is no cancellation option in the UAE invoicing. Once the invoicing is submitted, the only fix is the credit note, that is the standard flow. And we have to reference the original invoice number. So your AR team needs to understand this and handle that scenario. Then there are multiple other scenarios like self billing, summary invoices, continuous supplies, right, for the recurring contracts. All will have their own set of identifier, and we have to maintain those identifier in the ERP. If it is not there, we have to maintain some or the other identifier or custom field to make sure those data is as per the FTA Paint A format. So the first question which we ask any of the customer, right, which all scenarios are applicable to you, and that's where the mapping starts, right? We understand what scenarios are applicable, what is the Paint A mandatory field for that particular scenarios, and if those fields are not there, we will make sure to even categorize, normalize that field in their ERP from an existing field, or create some new field to make sure those scenarios are covered. Next slide, please, Shivani. So master data cleansing, right? This is the one that I want everyone to take away clearly, right? So master data is where the good amount of implementation break, right? It is not the technology, because the development is straightforward, right? We are sending the data from the ERP to the Signet SP and then to the FTA authority. So the main issue that we have seen working with good amount of customer is the data. So the vendor TRN, the T number, the TRN, both are mandatory as per the UAE e-invoicing framework. Every supplier you transact with, every customer you are doing any business, they need to have a verified TIN number. If it is missing or if the data is not there, the invoicing will fail FTA validation. Even it will fail the C2 model, right, that we are doing the validation. Then the customer location is the very much important, and you have to maintain the correct Emirates, right? It can be Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, whatever the Emirate is. Then the country subdivision, it should follow the Paint A standard that requires you to have the proper Emirates code, right? And this needs to be in your both the customer master, and if you are handling the vendor, it should be there in the vendor master as well. Then the PayPal identifier, ideally PayPal identifier can be generated based on the TRN number, and there is some hard code, I think 223, some code is there to identify the PayPal identifier. But yeah, that identifier logic should be there in the ERP or the middleware that we are using for generating the e-invoicing. Then the document type should be system driven. There are ideally 3-4 types, right? Invoice, credit note, debit note, refund note. So we have to derive the exact code that the FTA authority is looking for from the ERP. Then the transaction type, right, as I told you, it is a free zone, it is a dim supply. The margin, profit margin skip is also one of the use case that good amount of customers are asking for handling that scenario. Summary invoices, the continuous supply. So these are a good amount of scenarios, and we need to capture that in the system before we go live for the e-invoicing. Similarly, if you'll ask the bill to details, right, from both the sides, right, even from the company side, the master data should have all the information of the company, the legal name, the team, TRN, street, city, the pin code, all these field is there. For the VAT filing, this must be there is no hard constant, but for the e-invoicing, the validation is very real, and it will fail in case the validation if it is not as per the Emirates FTA rules. Then there is one point I just wanted to highlight: the HSN code, right? That is an item or product identifier that also needs to be reviewed. As of now, these are still yet to be finalized by the FTA authority as per the latest guidelines. But yeah, but the system should be able to accommodate the identifier to identify if particular item is a good or services, right? But we have to maintain that for the future, right? We should not hard code or understand take as a optional field for any item classification. Next slide, please, Ivani. So again, this is on a high level, but I'll just give for everyone like using Oracle, right? So we are primarily an Oracle partner firm, but again, we have worked on all the ERPs. But for everyone working on Oracle, so here is a high level picture, right? High level dashboard that we have implemented for customers. Right, Oracle to Signet using OIC, MuleSoft, whatever the middleware you are using, or even if you're not using any middleware, right, we are directly integrating with a virtual machine, right? So this is for from a real project. What is the how the project works? The layer one is your in your ERP, right? The AR and AP modules. So this is where your actual data resides, right? So we built your BIP reports, we built your extraction logic to extract the complete data as per the pint AE compliance. And if there are some field missing, we will work with you to make sure the custom flex fields are created, master data are updated and all, right? The transaction type as per the pint AE is handled in your ERP. Then the layer 2 is the transformation, right? So as the extraction is fine, then the transformation, we will pull the data dynamically and in the real time from your ERP, map it to our Signet schema, right? Enrich it with the master data and validate it. All the things will happen. This is the corner one, right? Where your system, source system, we are preparing the invoice in the agreed format before it goes to the ASP. Then the layer 3 is the ASP, right? Signet acting here as a corner 2. So corner 2 will validate the invoice. It will do all those checks. It will validate if the TRNT number, the PIN code, everything is proper or not. It will convert into the XML format, right? That FT authority needs. It will digitally sign it. It will generate the UUID, submit it to the corner 3 and the corner 5, right? For the FT authority and for the uh, seller side ASP. Then there is a layer 4 which we are handling the response back, right? So sorry, so the corner 2 response we get instantly from the Signet, right? But what about the FTA and the corner 3 response? So there will be a scheduler running behind the scene that will get the status back, and all the status will be in your ERP back, so that down the line the business user can seamlessly see the status in their ERP itself, and there will be no manual, or you don't have to navigate to any third party platform. And then the C5, the final stage is the FTA authority, right? So obviously FTA will have both the information of C2 and C3, and the FTA has the complete visibility of each and every transaction, and whatever the status is there, it will come back and reside in your ERP. And this is what high level dashboard will look like in the Oracle. If you can see, this dashboard is deployed using the latest Redwood technology, which is deployed in your Oracle ERP. This is for instance of Fusion, where based on the filter, user can search, user can manually trigger for the e-invoicing generation, but behind the scene there is an automated flow uh, provided in the ERP, which will run based on the business event. Yep, Shivani, next slide. Yeah, Monish, what?
Yeah, so there are certain risk and penalties that are involved with any delays that is occurring with the invoices. So, firstly, the penalty is for the ASP appointment. So, in case you're falling under phase one and you do not appoint an ASP by 31st of July this year, then there is a penalty per month of 5,000 dirhams. So, this will be a penalty for each month that you're delaying to appoint the ASP. If you are not appointing them as per the timelines which has been given in the different phases. And the second penalty is for the issuance of the invoices. So in case if you do not issue your invoice or credit note within the certain time period which has been given by the FTA, then there is a penalty of 100 dirhams per invoice, going up till 5,000 per calendar month. So this applies to both your invoice and the credit note end. And another penalties are for failure in notifying any system failure. So in case the issuer, that is corner 2 or corner 3, is down and they're you're not able to submit or receive any invoices, then you'll have to notify it to the FTA. And in case you do not do that within the time frame, then there is a penalty of 1,000 dirhams for the delay for each day that you're not reporting. And another penalty would be in case the issuer or the recipient, that is corner 1 or corner 4, changes any data within their system which is impacting the e-invoicing, then they have to inform the ASP about such changes that they are making. And in case they delay in those notifications, then there is a 1,000 dirham penalty for each day for which they are not notifying. So these are the risk and penalties which are involved with the invoicing and the delays that are occurring with the certain functions which has been provided by the FTA. So moving on.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. So now, what are the changes that that are to be done under your system uh, due to the near real-time invoicing that is coming up? So everyone would have heard about MLS and a lot of myths around that. Let's try to sort of go through what all the things are coming up in your line. The system needs to build a retry mechanism for sure for any of the connectivity issues that you see across in any of the corners. So yes, as an ASP, each of the ASPs would definitely have the retry mechanisms. However, it is equally important to have all those retry mechanisms done at the source system level as well, be it for sales or for purchase, right? Because at any point of time, your ERP should reflect the current status that is there at any of the corners. The same way, incorporation of the MLS status in the source system. As I said, corner 2, corner 3, corner 5, whatever the statuses are, everything is part of the MLS status and that has to be replicated back to the ERP system, be it integrated with the APIs by file transfer, by middlewares, that needs to be there in the source system. So there is a provision of 10 minutes or a near real-time response that has to be provided by each of the corners involved. So this gets to a, I would say, increase in the manpower as such, or a deemed acceptance practical scenarios that might have to be taken care of now, because within the 10 minutes of time frame at any of the corners, if the response is not given, there is a fallback mechanism done, or fallback mechanism to be incorporated by the ASPs in. So that is something that has to be taken care of. Yes, as you saw previously, there are no cancellations involved or allowed anymore. So anything that you have done it, or be it, manual error, or there is a mismatch in the invoice amount with what the vendor had quoted for, it has to be dealt only and only with the credit notes around. So as I said in a summary, every corner needs to respond within 10 minutes of a receipt of a document as per the guidelines. Data validations now become critical for the acceptance or rejection of the documents, right? And C4, the recipient, has the right to accept or reject any document as per the business process, even if it is passed by C5. So in this case, the recipient will have to coordinate with the supplier on any of the discrepancies, and the same has to be corrected only via the credit notes as expected, right? And looking at the real-time challenges on the ground with different industry team, right, different industry taxpayers, there seems to be you know it's like a deemed acceptance that has to be put across, so that the 10 minutes window at any of the corners is taken care, as well as imagine a use case where beyond the business hours, if there is any invoice that is received at your end or at your ASP and then reaches out to your ERP, the 10 minutes window has to be taken care of. So it might the industry might go towards a deemed acceptance in this case to avoid any of the non-compliances that are there. Okay, so what are the process changes that that you need to do at the AP level, or the purchase processes changes? So a couple of them have been listed out here, which are key, or I would say the main challenges or changes that would be done. As I said, no edits post validation. So as soon as an invoice is validated and it's then processed for the invoice generation to the ASP and FTA reporting, there are no edits provisioned at all. So there is no tampering, no changes to be done. The only way to do is via the reversals, right? Then any of the corrections due to the dependency on suppliers, like buyers cannot do self corrections. If you see that your supplier has raised an incorrect invoices, you must coordinate with the suppliers and have the changes done via a credit note and then an actual one. Invoice posting will get on a hold because unless and until it's validated correctly, validated against what the customers are looking out for, uh, it depends on the validations as well, right? So invoices should not be posted in ERP until the validation is complete and it's ready to be posted out. Delays in the GRN three-way matching. This would be a bigger challenge on ground for the initial couple of days or months, because the validation lag that happens at the downstream for matching and reconciliation, obviously the processes were a bit manual in nature or not at the automated level of 100%. So that now changes because it has to match. The vendor payments may get delayed now because the delays in the invoice validation can affect the payment cycles. So this is where the process changes will have to be put up by the AP team. As I said, no reversals post submissions. The only way to do is a credit note. The disruptions in the ERP workflow. Let's take a use case where the AP team has their own processes of, let's say, 2 or 3 different level of approvals, plus a couple of validations across delivery notes or proof of deliveries. So unless that these processes are taken care, the purchase invoice that is received versus the one that is to be actually expected out. If there's a change in the alignment, if that is mismatching, these approval cycles may need a purchase process change. It has to match with what the corner 5 or the UAE FTA rules are with. Obviously, the 7-year archival compliance, yes, not all the taxpayers would have ensured till date to have a 7-year all compliance archival. Couple of them may have a lesser one. Couple of them may not have more than a month also. But now everything is dependent on the archival compliance rules that are mandated out. Any changes or challenges for the non-PayPal vendors? Yes. So there would be an interoperability challenge for sure, as it will add a manual effort and friction to the AP processes. For a use case where the suppliers are not in the, they are not registered as the PayPal vendors yet. They are not applicable for the PayPal e-invoicing. Probably they are in the phase 2, right? So in that case, yes, there would be some friction and manual effort to be added to the purchase process to handle this scenario. And yes, the user adoption and the training overhead. The team members would now have to adapt to the new changes that are coming up for the invoicing. They would have to adapt the processes that are to be followed across as an ASP, and that is where the formats, the overall processes, and the compliance steps would have to be kind of updated or reconsidered and checked out if everything is checked basis the checklist given for the FTA guidelines. Okay. The next topic that we are covering is about the data localization. I'm sure most of majority of you would have heard about APSMP now at this stage. So Signet offers APSMP hosting within UAE. It's a Signet's homegrown APSMP platform. And just to showcase in a kind of a workflow level, so any of your source systems, so we are considering them as a corner 1 from where it would start, right? So as Reshma rightly explained, we provide API, web folder, and a ETL way to communicate with the source system and then reach out to the validation. So this is an ASP layer where it is called as corner 1A in Signet terminologies, where the validation takes taken care of, the data conversion or I would say a data derivation logic is taken care. Any of the storage and audit trails are there. Reports and notifications are rolled out. E-invoicing is taken care there in 1A, right? From there, it goes to the C2, which is corner 2, where the validation and transmission of the actual required invoice information is passed via an XML format to corner 5 as well as to corner 3, utilizing the SML and SMP layers, right? So both the AP as well as SMP for Signet are hosted within the UAE. So your data resides within UAE when it comes to the transmission via Signets, right? For UAE, AP, and SMP. And as we have a separate layer out for 1A, which is a ASP layer that also resides within the UAE. The next slides would also cover what are the different deployment options we provide, right? So Signet provides you three different sorts of, I would say, the deployment types. For example, let's start with on-premises setup. Widely utilized for any of the banking finance corporations or an organization or a taxpayer who have a very restricted layer of, I would say, the access provided for any of the automations to be done, right? So we do have our on-premise solution that we provide, wherein the ASP would be deployed within your premises. That can be hosted within your premises, be it bare metal or you have your own private cloud or a data center where you want us to help you deploy that. So if you see the pros, complete data control within your captive hardware, no latency between the source and Signet Global ASP because both of them are at your premises. Latency, because AP and SMP will be at Signet Cloud, and AP SMP are bases the PayPal guidelines, right? So you may have that latency, and let's be very transparent in that nature if there are any, because AP SMP are globally level, right? High cost as there would be dedicated hardware, but it's an overhead on the hardware management, because then your team from the infra perspective would also have to manage this particular deployment, or also the internal applications who talk to Signet ASP for any of the integrations done. So further bifurcation on-premises. At your premise, the source system and the Signet ASP would be deployed. In Signet Infra, it would be only the AP SMP as per the guidelines, and then the data transmits to the tax authority. The second provision that we have is a private SaaS model, where you have an option to either deploy it in your private cloud or Signet's provision of private cloud, which would be again a secure data control, as it would be hosted privately only for you with a Signet cloud account. No latency between global e-invoicing solution and API-SMP, as everything would be in the same environment. Yes, high cost, but a dedicated hardware on the cloud. Here, the infrastructure setup would be from your side, it would be just the source system. Depends whether you opt for Signet private cloud or your own private cloud account. The ASP would be deployed. Again, as I said in the option one, the the Signet infrastructure would be AP and SMP as per the guidelines, and then the tax authority connectivity would be established. The third option, which is widely used, is the public cloud, the public SaaS model, where we have I would say, it's a secure data control stored in a separate tenant for each of the customer, a common environment where it is getting hosted out. We have taken care of all the needed network and security protocols. There would be no latency. AP, SMP, ASP, everything is in the same environment. And it is the best and the cost efficient way to deploy, where the source system is the only thing that would be from in your environment. ASP, AP, SMP would be the Signet infra, and then it directly communicates to the tax authorities.
Okay. So before anyone starts the implementation, right? So it is advisable, or it is a mandate to do an impact assessment. So I would say it is non-negotiable stuff to do an impact assessment, right? I have seen good amount of cases where the clients skip the assessment before starting the development, and find the critical gap during the after 3 months or 4 months, and that delays the complete go live process. So impact assessment, what we covers is we covers your complete ERP landscape assessment. We understand how your ERP handles the complete scenario, right? Again, all those use cases what I was referring, right, what team was referring initially. We will understand your ERP, what fields we have to create, what transformation we have to use based on the paint AE and the PayPal requirement. Then we will do the complete end-to-end process mapping, coming from AR, AP, credit note, intercompany. As of now, that is optional in UAE, but again, all those scenarios, right, all these exception flows. Then we will also identify any standard clearance model, right, or any requirement that is missing in your ERP. Then we will make sure your fields are integrated properly from your ERP using the standard ERP structure. Like in case of Oracle, it is a BIP. Then we will do the complete assessment, and the provide complete recommendation, right? We will give you all the alternative options which we can follow to maintain those kind of use cases in the ERP. So this is a we will give you a prioritized roadmap, right, and which works as a execution plan, right. And yeah, as you know, right, the penalty for not appointing an ASP is 5,000 dirham per month, and for non-compliant invoice it is around 1,000. So yeah, assessment will take 2 to 3 weeks approx, so it prevents a lot of pain downstream, right. So that's the reason we will suggest, and it is an unavoidable part, right, to have the impact assessment of the ERP. Next slide, please. So the last part, right, if we'll go with an implementation plan for any single ERP instance. By single ERP instance, what I mean is, in ERP instance, and it can have good amount of legal entities in the same ERP instance, but this is on a high level, the implementation plan that looks like this is the standard delivery plan, and again, based on the requirement, based on the complexity, the timeline can be adjusted, right, accordingly. So the first initial week is the discovery and the gap, right, where we understand your ERP setups, maps the gap, provide you the complete report, the technical and the functional analysis report. Then the next is 4 to 6, the next 2 weeks, right, we will have the prerequisite, we will have your data cleaning, we will handle the networking, the VPN, for example. If it is an on-premise, we will make sure the connectivity is established, right, that instances access are given to us, right. Then the next 2 weeks, right, 7th and 8th week, we will do all those data mapping, we will align your ERP field as per the Signet API structure. We will prepare the sample data if you don't have, right, or if you have any existing sample data, we will ask you to share, so that we can validate and map, give you the data mapping with your ERP. Then the ninth week will be majorly where we will do live testing of the data to the Signet ASP, right, ERP, and we'll do all those authentication and all. Then the next 2 to 3 weeks, that is the week 9 to week 12, we will do the build complete end-to-end integrations, we will do all those error handling, the development, and then we starts with the SIT, the end-to-end testing flow. Then beyond that, we will give the scenarios for the UAT session, right, we will give the complete business use case, the complete documentation, and based on the feedback of the business user, we will do some minor adjustment. Based on the feedback, we will change the flow if required, and then there comes the go live, right. And then there will be free hypercare support that is included in each and every project. And if you have, again, just wanted to reiterate, this is for the single ERP instance, but if you have multiple ERP instance, that is very common in UAE, right. A group company has good amount of ERP instances, be it Oracle, SAP, says, right. So that we have to start simultaneously to hit the same go live date, because the go live date is fixed, right, as Reshma was initially highlighting. So it is, we have to make sure the ERP integration for the phase 1 companies, right, should be by 1st January 2027. And on a high level, these 25 work weeks, right, if you can see, obviously it 13 to 14 weeks is where the complete process works, but beyond that, it is a hypercare. So we should start the kickoff soon, right. That's where the window is still open. And uh, this is on a high level that covers my section. So happy to pick up any ERP related questions on any ERP site, and you can feel free to post your queries in the Q&A section. Back to you, Reshma or Shivani.
Let's have a quick demo about the overall platform that Signet provides, and Reshma will walk through us on that particular piece, and then we'll take the Q&A sessions for that.
Okay. So this is our ASP application. So here from Oracle dashboard, which Shailesh was presenting earlier, the data will be first landing into our application here, and you will be able to see those statuses of the invoices, whether it has been successfully validated or were there any failures. In case of these failures, this will be parallel reflecting into the Oracle ERP as well, the errors that we have received in the documents. So this is where you will find all the logs. So moving on with the manage organization part, wherein we'll have to onboard your entities as a pre-go live activity. So here you can add in your entities, you can give a group TRN level details, you can have a business created under which you can have the entities added. So simply you just have to provide us with the TRN and the TIN level details. And here we help with two activities. One is the entity will be onboarded into our application for the e-invoicing purpose, and also the PayPal ID creation and the onboarding will be happening. So PayPal ID is nothing but 0235, which is a country code for UAE, followed by the 10-digit TIN number of yours. So you just have to provide us with the TIN number, and once you save the entity onboarding process, your entity will be created, and parallelly the SMP creation, so the PayPal ID will be created and onboarded within the SMP. So another status that you find here is whether the ASP has been appointed on the Amara tax platform or not. So when you click on the save button, when you're onboarding the entity, you will be rerouted to the Amara tax platform, wherein you can log in using your group credential login IDs, and you can appoint the ASPs against each of the entities, and you can save those processes there. So once that activity is completed on the Amara tax platform, the onboarding status will be updated on our application as well. So you'll be able to see those statuses here. And further, you can create a number of users and create restrictive access and roles into the application, restrictive to only the AP or the AR module, or only to certain reports or dashboards. So that can be customized and can be assigned to your user. So moving on, so we have got various business intelligence dashboards and statistical reports into our screen. So here you can see the number of invoices which are uploaded, which are reported yet not reported. So those statuses are available. And we've got the BI dashboards for your sales and purchase invoices, which gives you a summary of the data and also a graphical representation of your sales and purchase invoices, along with the bifurcation based on the different categories, the recurring revenues and expenses. So all this will be visible here, and you can have it filtered at the TRN, TIN, or based on the financial years as well. So moving on with the data import part. So apart from the integration, we have also got the manual import option, wherein in case you want to create any manual invoices, you can feed in the details into our our Excel template, and you can directly upload it from the portal itself. And this is how you will find the errors on the screen. So you'll get in which section the error is and what is the error, and all this will be synced back to your respective ERPs as well. And we have given the UI viewpoint as well, wherein all these errors can be viewed and corrected from. So once the data is uploaded, it will flow into my sales module. So it will work in an automated way. So once the data is validated, it will be real time reported to the corner 4 and corner 5 to the tax authorities as well. And also you will receive the MLS status, whether they have acknowledged your invoices and they have received the invoices or not. And these acknowledgements will also be synced back to the Oracle system, wherein you will have this viewpoint. And on the application as well, we have provided this report, and you can have it filtered using the various filters that we have got. And from the screen as well, you can download the PDF, Excel, or the XML data of these invoices. And additionally, we have an option of downloading the PDFs, and also these PDFs can be sent across to your customers as well. So as soon as the invoices are reported to the authorities, we can have an automated email enabled, considering the email IDs of the customers are provided. So this attachment of the PDF copies can be sent. So in case if you this is how a standard PDF looks like, but in case if you want to customize the PDF by adding in the logo or realigning the structure, etc., so you can have, like, as per the feasibility, that can be accommodated within the application, and we can have the updated PDF sent across to the customers. So this is on the sales side. So moving on with the purchase module. So the invoices that we receive as corner 3 will be first landing into our application here. And from here, the data will be synchronized back to your Oracle, wherein you will have a viewpoint of this purchase invoices as well. And also the secondary viewpoint will be our application here. And also we have a notification option, wherein as soon as the invoices are received into our application, we can have an automated email communication given to the respective AP teams along with the attachments of the PDF and the XML of the purchase. So simply we just have to configure those AP teams email ID within our system, and as and when we receive any new purchase invoices, we can have that auto emailers triggered. And from here as well, you can download the PDF and the XML or the Excel data of the purchase invoices. And also the statuses that like the status that we receive on your purchase invoice from corner 5 will also be available within the purchase invoice which we are sending to Oracle and also on our screen. So this is in terms of the compliance need for the sales and purchase what we have provisioned into the application. So over and above, we have got various reconciliation reports and dashboards available on the screen. So reconciliation we have got for sales and purchase. On the sales front is what you have uploaded from your ERP and what we have reported to the FTA and the tax authorities. You'll be able to have a reconciliation around that. And in the similar manner, we have done like we have provisioned a reconciliation report for the purchase invoices as well. So this is a purchase invoice which you have booked within your ERP. You can have that purchase invoices uploaded onto our application, and we can have a reconciliation of those purchase invoices versus what the supplier has submitted through the five corner model. That is the e-invoicing purchase invoices. And in case there are any deviations between these two, then you can find those deviations and you can get those communicated to the respective suppliers and have a credit note and a new invoice raised. So this is in terms of the reconciliation that we have provided. And over and above, we have got certain audit trail reports and the summary reports as well. On the summary side, we have the sales and purchase summary report, wherein you can see these acknowledgement statuses, the UUID, the timestamp of the invoice reporting. At a summary level, you can have this for your further audit purposes. You can have it downloaded from our application itself. And similar manner, we have it for the purchase invoices as well. So on the audit front, we maintain the end-to-end audit trail of all the user activities and the actions which are happening on your sales invoices. So in case before reporting to the authorities, any users makes any corrections or deletes any of your sales invoice, we keep a track of all those activities as to who has done what activity, what was the timestamp, IP address, etc. So all these informations are captured for the audit purposes. So again, these reports can also be downloaded from our application. And also we have got an end-to-end user access management reports as well, wherein all the user activities of any like the login logouts which has been done by the users, the if any roles are getting changed or the passwords reset, etc. So all those activities that is happening on the user, on the user perspective. So all those access management reports are available within our application. So, and also on the security part, we have got various security aspects also, wherein we have got single sign-on. If you want to enable the two-factor authentication, the password security aspects, what should be the strength of the password, etc., the dormancy part, so etc. These functions can be enabled as per the business needs. And also we have got the login options based on the AD Azure SAML based logins. So we support all these login approaches as well. So this is on the security front what we have within the application. And on the notifications, these are the notification features that I was talking about. Simply you can add in the email IDs of the respective users and you can get the notifications whenever we are receiving any purchase invoices in case there are any failures within your sales invoices. So all these notifications can be sent across to those respective users. And we have got various masters as well. So the emails that we send across to the customers or to the internal users, so these are, we have got certain standard templates. So in case if you want to change the to and from email IDs which you're sending across to the like the from email ID that you're sending across to the suppliers, you can have that changed within our portal itself, wherein you can add in the from email ID through which your suppliers needs to receive those emails. So those customization can be done within the portal directly. And also we have got various masters as well. You can maintain your business partner master within our application, wherein the TIN, TRN, the PayPal IDs, and the address level details are captured, and also the email addresses for sending across the notifications to your suppliers, so that can be maintained within our system. And also we have got the IP address restriction. So if you want to limit the login to the portal restrictive to certain IP addresses itself, so you can have that IP addresses configured to enable the login functionalities. So even this masters can be updated by the IT or the security team for the login purposes. So this is what we have incorporated within our solution over and above the compliance need and in terms of the compliance needs for the reporting purposes. I think now we are done with the demo. In case of any questions, we can take up the questions from the from.
Okay. The first question goes, I guess it's about, there was an echo while the team or the, presenters were speaking. So I hope others were able to hear and get the content clear out. If there is anything that, feel free to write up. The other question goes is, if a company is in phase one and is having overseas business registered in JABSA free zone, how the revenue recognition should be done in that case, and the timeline of 14 days is applicable in such business type of to submit the e-invoice or not. Reshma, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, so the phase one revenue categorization will be done as per the sales which you are doing. So even if it's an overseas business, that will be considered as a revenue under your business. And if it is crossing the 50 million threshold, then you will be falling under the phase one itself. And the 14 days applicability, yeah, in case if you're doing an export and if you're raising an export invoices, then it has to be within 14 days of the date of generation or from the date of supply, it has to be reported to the FTA. So again, you will fall under that 14 days time frame as well.
Okay. The second question is, will the invoicing be applicable to JAVSA entities? We are a 100% export company and no sales in the mainland.
Yeah, again, it will be applicable. So just we have to check if you're falling under phase one or phase two.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. The next is, when it's a scenario when I'm a buyer, how the GRN and three-way matching delays impact and leads to a potential risk. Will the buyer get the invoice automatically from the seller through my ASP? Should the buyer send the GRN and payment advice to ASP? Will the purchase invoices be available within the ASP system always? Is it mandatory that the purchase invoices has to be declared? So let's go one by one. The first is, when I'm a buyer, how the GRN and three-way matching delays impact and lead to the potential risk.
Okay, so yeah. So this has nothing to do. So when we say potential risk, here the FTA is not restricting you as to when you're doing the accounting or basis on what invoice you're doing the accounting. So as an ASP, when we receive your purchase invoices, we have to report them real time to the FTA. Now it is not mandatory for you to book do the accounting based on those purchase invoices. Even the FTA will not do a real time validation because they are not checking your VAT return and the invoicing which you have submitted on a real time basis. Now your GRN and the three-way matching which you're currently doing will work as is. What you can do is you can consume these purchase invoices that we are receiving and as an ASP to do a reconciliation. So suppose the offline invoices that you're receiving is not matching with the e-invoicing data, then it is a call which the business has to take with base like which purchase invoice do I need to consider for the accounting, and should I communicate it to the vendor to get a corrected invoice or a credit note raised. So it
Okay.
has no potential risk as of now, but yeah, down the line in a year or two, we can expect an audit if your VAT return or the input is not matching with your invoicing purchase data.
Just to add on to what Reshma just specified, if there is any approval flow in your purchases which is intact, right, and that may hamper your acceptance to the purchase invoices as well. So when you have a workflow for GR and three-way matching, unless and until the three-way matching is done, and you have a clear response that yes, it is matching, and if your workflows restrict you to post that input in the purchase entries, then yes, there would be a risk because the timeline is there, right? Uh, the second question, will the buyer get an invoice automatically from the seller through ASP? Yes. So each of the ASPs will have to keep near real time, invoices to be fetched in for the purchase documents. So till ASP, yes, it would be available to you. Signet as an ASP, we do provide you a sync option as well. We do provide you an integration approach, be it API or FTP, where you can schedule in the connector, in the middleware, in your API integration or file-based integration, in what frequency you want to fetch it from Signet as an ASP. So Signet will have the data. At what time, what frequency you want to take it back to your source, you can configure that out. The next question is, should the buyer send the GRN or payment advice to the ASP? No, that's something which is not a mandate. It's just uh, it's the purchase invoices that you have to accept it out. When I say accept, you have to fetch and keep it in your source systems. Will the purchase invoices be available within the ASP system always? I guess I have answered in the above query. So yes, it will be there. Is it mandatory that purchase invoices has to be integrated? Well, it depends. If you are having an integration done with your ERP, it is always recommended and an advisable approach to have a two-way integration done where be it your sales or your purchase, the source of truth still remains at your source system, whereas your ASP will be the medium to send the invoices and to receive the invoices. Obviously, ASPs would have the invoices with them. However, it would be a sort of a business and an IT call. At what stage should you be syncing those invoices back to your ERP at all? Yeah. The last question the next question I see is, what cloud do you use? So Signet's platform is cloud agnostic. However, we are hosted on Oracle. What is the time period for submitting an invoice in import-export business? Reshma? Yeah.
So import is out of scope. So import will not flow through this five-corner model. You will receive the import invoices as you're receiving it today. And for the export invoices, yes, it has to be reported. And again, the timelines would be 14 days itself. 14 days from the date of generation of supply, it has to be reported.
Yeah. Okay. The next question says, which format the tax invoice will be shown to the buyer? So see, when let's take it as a situation where you are the buyer and this is your purchase invoice, right? So as an ASP has their own purchase invoice formats in which the data that has been transmitted to the ASP via an XML has been displayed in a human readable format. Okay, this is one thing that is a mandate. Second, if the seller has attached their actual invoice along with the invoice that they have submitted to the corner 2, the same invoice PDF or the same invoice would also be available to the buyer via the ASP to be seen what the seller has sent. At present, to look at the scenario, the seller might be sending you the email via the PDFs or the invoices via email or a hard copy by post by courier. So the same document, if their ASP supports to attach their actual invoice and send it across, transmit across to you as a buyer. Signet as an ASP, yes, we do support that, accept that, and send it back to your source system as a purchase invoice, right? The next question, once the tax invoice is successfully reported to FTA and afterwards the buyer wanted to resubmit the same tax with an updated LPO reference number without canceling the tax invoice.
You cannot. So once the invoice is submitted through the five-corner model, you cannot use the same invoice number to resubmit the data with any updation. So it is not. It's a no. You'll have to either raise a credit note, get it cancelled, and raise a new invoice.
Yeah. The last question that I see is the cancellation invoices are also to be brought into invoicing module or model. So the answer goes this way. So if the invoices were raised and it has been reported via the source system, via the ASP, yes, its cancellation has also to be reported via the credit notes. So referring to the earlier slides that were shown today, there was a point where you have to ensure the needed validations are done before it gets generated in the ERP, because once it is generated, it has to be posted to ASP. Okay, these were the questions. I guess hope the team was able to answer all your queries. And yeah, over to you, Shivani.
Thank you everyone for your time and a big thank you to Sailesh, Monish and Reshma. I hope this session was insightful for you all. If you have any further queries, feel free to reach out. Once again, thank you everyone. Have a great day. I'll be ending the session now.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
all.
you.